I'm Nick Pettit.
I'm Jason Seifer.
And you're watching The Treehouse Show, your weekly dose of internets where we talk about all things web design, web development, and more.
In this episode, we'll be talking about the CSS position of Fix Sticky, Flexbox, Google Web Designer, and more.
Let's check it out. First up is a JavaScript polyfill called Fixed Sticky. So this is actually a feature that made it into WebKit not too long ago, I think almost a year ago now. And basically it allows you to say position sticky and create a sticky element on the page. What is that?
What is that?
Basically, when you're scrolling down a page, sometimes you might have a sidebar, you have stuff in the sidebar, and when the top of your browser window hits that sidebar content, and you continue scrolling down the page, the sidebar will stick with it.
Oh.
Yeah. Hence the term sticky. I just made that up. That's pretty good.
Nailed it.
I'm proud of that one.
I am too.
Well, it's not supported in every browser just yet. In fact, I'm using the latest version of Google Chrome, and it's still not supported, even though Chrome uses WebKit, or actually something close to it. They forked it recently. But if you use this super cool polyfill, it will actually make position sticky work in a number of different browsers. So pretty cool. And don't really have much more to say about it. You can check out the browser support down here, and there's a couple of things that they still need to do. It's actually just been released, so use at your own risk, YOLO. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Very nice. Polyfills are very, very useful.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that's out there. It really lets you experiment with new features a lot sooner.
Definitely.
Next up, we have a project called jq-idealforms. Now, this is a project that's been around for a little while. However, they just released version 3, and it has a bunch of updates. Now, jq-idealforms provides you a really nice JavaScript framework in jQuery, as you might guess from the name, for working with forms, also as you might guess. Go ahead.
They create the most ideal forms, you could say.
Are you in my head?
It's amazing how descriptive this name is.
Yeah, because wow. No, but let's take a look at how it works. This gives you things like form validation right on the client side, so you can say the field is required, and it requires numbers, and then it can check, and oh, look at that, my username isn't valid. It needs to be between 4 and 32 characters long. There we go. Okay, look, it's loading. It's great. Yeah, that works. And then, so you get all these different kinds of validations inside the form. You get multi-step forms. You get just a whole bunch of different options. Now, what does it do? Well, it does a ton of stuff. It does on-the-spot validation. It's fully adaptive. This is great. It adapts to the container that it's in without media queries. That's one of the advantages of using jQuery. So it has just a ton of different things, and what's really great about it is you can add all sorts of different options into it yourself. So you can add different rules, like, okay, make sure the username is required and that it's a username field. You can have just a ton of different options and create your own custom errors. So you can give it a little hash and say, all right, if there are errors on the username field and it's an error that's required, make it say this. If it's not correct, say this different thing. It's all customizable, and you can add your own if some of the built-in rules don't work for you. So here's a list of them, but I do recommend checking this project out. You can find a link to it in the show notes at youtube.com/gotreehouse, or in iTunes, search for us at The Treehouse Show.
Very cool stuff. Well, next up is this really cool project called Focus Transition. It is created by Nikita, and if you're following along at home, I'll let you go ahead and pronounce their last name on your own time. Don't hurt yourself. Right here, we have a little playground where we can go ahead and test out Focus Transition. Now, Focus in the browser will go ahead and highlight the element that you're focused on. In other words, the element that's selected. Now, typically, if you hit Tab, it will go to the next element. The problem, though, is that sometimes it's very difficult to see what element the focus is moving to. So here's what Focus Transition does. When I hit Tab, whoa, look at that.
Whoa.
It actually animates.
I can track what's going on with my eyes.
Exactly. You can see which element it's going to next. Now, it's pretty amazing that this actually isn't a default feature of browsers, because when you're just going through forms really quick and filling out things quickly, it can be difficult to see where you're at in the form.
I'm having no difficulty.
Sometimes the form focus will just jump to an element kind of randomly, because you can adjust the order of the focus. So when a designer or developer does that, it can be confusing.
It's a great way to prank your users.
Now, the way that, don't do that, the way that this works is it creates basically just a hidden element here, and it highlights it using the WebKit focus ring color. Now, I'm not actually sure if this works in other browsers. Oh, yes, it does. So it will go ahead and use box shadow if that's not available. But pretty cool. If this doesn't seem to be working for some reason when you load up the page, there's actually a YouTube video where you can see it working, and you can also see it working on other websites, so you can see how it might work in other contexts. So
very cool, yeah.
Cool stuff. It's focus transition.
Really like that. I wish I could have focus transition in real life.
That would be nice.
So you could see where my eyes were darting. Next up, we have a project called fastdom. This is a piece of JavaScript that batches layout requests in order to avoid layout thrashing.
And that's a significant improvement over the previous version, slow DOM and average DOM.
Exactly.
Now it's fast.
Yeah, or like speed limit DOM.
Yeah.
It always goes the speed limit. So layout thrashing is actually a bit of a problem if, let's say you're working on a site and manipulating elements in JavaScript, and you're going to, say, get the size of an H1 element using, JavaScript, maybe get the offset height, something like that, and then apply a different height to it. And then let's say you want to grab another element, say an H2, and do the same thing. Well, the DOM is going to have to reflow. And this isn't such a big deal if you're using a desktop browser, because they're pretty powerful. But this can turn into a performance issue on underpowered devices, such as mobile devices. So what this fastdom JavaScript does is it batches all of these to make the layouts that much quicker and do it in one frame instead of a whole bunch.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. You get a few different options here. You get the methods read, write, and I think there's another one. Okay, no, it's just read and write. But let's go ahead and check out the demo. I think we have a demo on here somewhere. Hold on. This is why you do things live. Here we go. Animation example. Go ahead and click on that. So here you can see we have 400 elements, and this is going to do it without fastdom. So if we press start, you can see there's a bunch of different things on the screen here. They're bouncing, and it's kind of slow. Now, go ahead, watch what happens. Prepare to be amazed when I click run with fastdom. You ready?
Wow.
Wow. That is smooth like butter. That's what that is.
Incredible.
Yeah. So there's just, a few different examples. I would really recommend using this, especially if you're building mobile applications using a lot of JavaScript, because that's really where it's going to count. Anyway, project's fastdom. Check it out. Love it. That's
very cool. And I need a citation on this one, but somewhere I read that either this year or next year, mobile devices are actually going to eclipse desktops in terms of web browsing. So phones and tablets will actually be kind of the primary experience for the web rather than desktops, which is kind of a reversal of the way it's been. So it is definitely really important, more so than ever, to think about performance on mobile devices.
Yeah. Wow.
All right. Wow. I'll get off my soapbox now. Okay. Next up is this really cool showcase of problems that are solved by Flexbox. Flexbox, of course, is this new CSS feature that allows you to create layouts and grid systems without the use of floats or clears or all sorts of really hacky stuff that was not ever meant to be used for CSS layouts. This is, though.
Wow, is this the future right now?
Yeah, I know. It only took like a decade for this to make it into browsers.
Huh.
Now, I should point out before I talk about this that Flexbox is supported in IE 11, which is still currently in beta at the time of this recording, and it's also supported in Safari 6.1, which is also in beta. So There's a couple of other different little caveats there and things that you should know about, but those will eventually go away, and it's probably going to be safe before long to start using Flexbox. Now here's the showcase, and I just want to grab just this first one. You can create better, simpler grid systems. And if we scroll down here, you can see that we have a pretty typical looking grid system here. And normally you would have to do this with explicit widths. You would need, all sorts of floats and hacks going on to make this flow the way that you're seeing.
Math, you would need a lot of math.
Yeah, and who likes math? Not designers. So here,
math engineers.
Math engineers. That's true. So here, if we go ahead and open up the Chrome inspector on a Mac, you can do that with Command-Option-I, or in Chrome, you can go ahead and just pull it from the drop-down menu somewhere at the top there. Not going to go into that. But anyway, we can go ahead and select these individual elements, and you'll see that on the grid cells here, they're using WebKit Box Flex, and they're setting the value to 1, and here they're using this Flex wrap. And through this combination of elements and properties, you can actually just have these flow exactly like this. So you just have 3 elements, and that means it's going to take up exactly 3 spaces that are all equal in width.
That's amazing.
It is really amazing, and it cuts out a ton of CSS and a ton of time you'd have to waste doing things the way that, frankly, we do them right now. So very exciting stuff, and it's definitely a little peek into the future.
Yeah, welcome to the future. We're your hosts. We're your hosts of the future.
Tomorrow is today.
And the next topic is right now. It's called Top Drawer. This is a little bit of CSS animation that you can use to use CSS transforms for the navigation dropdowns that we've been talking about, with nav icons and reveals and things like that. This is using CSS transitions rather than JavaScript solutions, which a lot of plugins use right now. So let's go ahead and check it out. You can see the top drawer page right here. And if I click this little menu button, look at how smooth that is.
What?
Yeah, smooth like butter.
What is happening?
Look at that. Look at that again. Wow. Look at that. It's like somebody took WD-40 and sprayed it on this web page. Anyway, this uses CSS transforms, modernizer, fast click, and a little tiny bit of JavaScript. I guess I was sort of lying about that. Anyway, minimal HTML and easy enough CSS. I really recommend that you check out the CSS because there's not much of it. It's really easy to understand. See just a little bit going on right there. Anyway, that'll be in the show notes. Check it out, and definitely check out the menu. Look at that. So nice.
Incredible.
Incredible future.
All right, well, next up is Google Web Designer. Now, I just want to kind of talk about Google Web Designer because it's been getting a lot of attention recently. Of course, it's a project from Google, so of course it's going to get a lot of attention. But Google Web Designer allows you to create a very specific type of layout here. Here they're showing the example of creating a banner ad, and there's a couple of different animated elements here. If you go ahead and refresh the page, it will actually show how those are put together in various layers. And if we scroll down the page and say, wow, works on any device. So you use this WYSIWYG application. It's a desktop application. And you can go ahead and put together these cool animated advertisements, and you can even do stuff in 3D using CSS3 transformations and transitions and animations, and it does all this stuff for you in just this nice and easy point-and-click interface. And at the end, you can actually export to DoubleClick Studio or AdMob if you're creating advertisements. Now, I just wanted to talk about this because it is called Google Web Designer. And this would imply that it's some sort of just amazing WYSIWYG tool for creating full-blown websites, and you don't have to write code anymore. And I've just seen a lot of tweets and stuff coming across that kind of make this out to be something that it's actually not. I think a better name for this might have been Google Ad Creator or something like that, because that's really what it is. And if that's what you want to do for that purpose, then it's great. You know, you can quickly design ads that are animated and drop them into whatever ad interface that you're using. But it's not really a tool for creating, you know, robust web applications like you might do in Ruby on Rails or PHP or WordPress or any number of other things that we teach at Treehouse. Huh.
Oh.
Would you look
I see
at
what
that?
you did there. I see what you did there.
Well, that's pretty much all we got for this week's episode. I am at NickRP on Twitter.
And I am at jc-ipher. If you want more information on anything we talked about, check out our show notes at youtube.com/gotreehouse, or check us out on iTunes, search for The Treehouse Show.
And of course, if you'd like to see more videos like this one about web design, web development, mobile development, business, and so much more, be sure to check us out at teamtreehouse.com. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.